Përshëndetje, jemi bashkë nga Berlini të nderuar shikues në një intervistë speciale dhe ekskluzive me zotin Manuel Sarrazin, që është i dërguari i posaçëm i qeverisë gjermane për Ballkanin perëndimor. Do të flasim me të në minutat në vazhdim në pritje të samitit të Berlinit, vendimet që do të merren nesër dhe natyrisht nëse do të mund të marrim detaje për planin franko-gjerman dhe për pritjet e Gjermanisë sa i përket marrëveshjes finale ndërmjet Kosovës dhe Serbisë. Mr. Sarrazin, thank you very much for talking to Channel 10. Obviously, I want to start by asking you about the revival, this big revival as it's seen of Berlin process with the summit going on tomorrow. What are your expectations? What is going to happen tomorrow?
Well, my expectation is that tomorrow will be perhaps one of the best Berlin summits ever for the Western Balkans, and that we are able to deliver to the region a new impetus, a new hope, and some concrete stuff on energy, on common regional market, on youth, and even on cyber.
So, I mean, the news most welcomed, at least in Kosovo, was the movement with ITs especially between Kosovo and Bosnia and Herzegovina, which were the last ones to have visas amongst each other. That's a very welcoming step, right?
Yes.
And why is it so important? Is it important for Germany, for EU, to see all these 6 Western Balkan countries agreeing to free movement?
Well, I mean, we are at the state of art where I think the message that the 6 are able to agree on something and are able to sign is already a message by itself. But this one is also showing that regional cooperation is back to a certain extent on track, and that we can do things together in the region. And the idea of the 4 freedoms as a step on the path to European Union is alive and reinvigorating as well as Berlin process. And I'm quite glad that we are able to deliver concrete stuff tomorrow. But of course we will go on with that track and seek for fast ratification and good implementation as well.
What happened in the meantime that we didn't see things happening in the Berlin process? Was there a long pause of waiting to see if these 6 countries can cooperate with each other?
I think there was a mix of things happening. I mean, we had a new government taking place in Germany, the old chancellor, which was actually putting this idea on the table first time some years ago. Also, we had COVID, so the possibilities for meet were different. And I think also that there's a momentum for political will also within the region. I mean, it's good if all people in the Western Balkan think that Berlin is the greatest stuff. I like that, but actually decisive is always political will in the region for things which should move.
This moving is particularly welcomed in Kosovo, which doesn't want to join Open Balkans, and the talk there is that everything should be done through the Berlin process and not through Open Balkans. Are they in contrary to each other, Open Balkans and the Berlin process?
Well, I think that tomorrow is a proof that the idea of going together with all 6 with an inclusive process can work. But also tomorrow is making it quite, I think, convincing to not talk bad about each other, but trying to deliver everybody in front of his or her own doorstep. And I think this is the idea. I mean, why should I talk all day about Open Balkans? Perhaps because I don't have own deliverables to do. So I think the real position of quality is if you are dealing with your own stuff. And on the other hand, I think that with common regional market back on track, it's also clear that it's okay if there are individual states or groups who want to do more, as long as it's in line with this basic principles of inclusivity and of being aligned with the European path and the European acquis. So it's kind of, perhaps we have been a little bit stuck and spent some time in talking about each other and talking about concepts. I think it's much better to talk about content.
But this is a new beginning of Berlin process. As you said, we will see in future months other agreements, other cooperations, which will be led by Germany, right? As was it from the start.
Well, this time we are the host, so we had also the responsibility to organize everything. Step one is we want to get this signed tomorrow, and I'm really hopeful, but you never know. There's a famous German saying about horses which are having some diseases in front of the pharmacy even so. Let's first see that. And then, of course, it's about getting the things which have been signed into practice use. And that the people can benefit from them concretely on the ground, and that they see that, hey, okay, it's going forward. But I have to also say that I felt a positive atmosphere and a positive momentum, and I had the feeling that all different sides were positive in doing something. And I mean, I would be stupid if I do not try to push this a bit more. And I mean, in the end, it's not decisive who is pushing, who is responsible. It's always only decisive if it works or who is guilty. So if it's not working, who is guilty? So this was really teamwork, I have to say so far. And as I said, without the political will in the region, especially in Kosovo and in Serbia, we would not be there tomorrow.
Who else will join Chancellor Scholz, a part of the success of Western Balkans country? President Macron will be here, right? Others?
Well, actually, I don't have the current list, so okay. Please cut this out. It's a good question. I was thinking myself, like, who's finally agreed? I just don't have the info in my back mind.
But this is we're talking now, especially when it comes to Kosovo and Serbia, about a cooperation between Germany and France, trying to find an agreement between Kosovo and Serbia. Is that going to be a topic tomorrow?
As far as I know, it's not part of the Berlin process, and I cannot confirm any other things. Like, from my knowledge, I don't know.
But it will somehow be brought up in the meetings between Chancellor Scholz and, let's say, Prime Minister Kurz.
I mean, you have to ask this to Chancellor Scholz or to Prime Minister Kurz if they want to talk about it.
But for many weeks now, we've been talking about the French-German proposal.
Yes, I know.
Mr. Sarrazin. And you're the German part of the proposal. So what do the Kosovo and Serbia people have to know about this proposal?
Well, I mean, there's a huge debate about this in Kosovo, and there's also a debate in Serbia about that. I wouldn't say that I'm the German part of the so-called Franco-German proposal. Everybody is forgetting that 3 guys were going down there to talk about this, and do never forget about European Union's role and Miro Lajčák, who I think is also having quite a grip on this process. Usually in the region, you love to have something with Berlin or Paris, and then the European institutions are sometimes forgotten, but from time to time they're more important or more decisive than the region recognizes. I think that, I know it's difficult if, there's some proposals and some called leaks and a lot of debate what might be on the paper, and then, politicians are not concrete on. I think it's not sensible to have a public debate now about, like, what might be the right or the wrong text, and if this is right or this is wrong. I think that this initiative has shown to be helpful. Whatever will be the outcome, it is clear that this debate is having a sense, and that it's helpful, I think, for the process itself, but also for the other processes between Kosovo and Serbia and in the region.
But the debate is going on, Mr. Sarrazin, without knowing what's in the text, because should it be Germany and France that propose such an agreement, the ones that publish, or should it be Kosovo and Serbia leaders that tell their people what's in the proposal and what discuss with the opposition, with people on what are the elements of the proposed agreement?
I think that the decisive point is that both sides are getting more clear and concrete what is their strategic aim overall, not only within the dialogue, but with the future of the 2 countries. And sometimes somebody has to make a proposal so that others have to also elaborate on what they share and what perhaps they don't share. And for this, I think it's really, really helpful.
Have you got any feedback from other Kosovo or Serbia about your proposal?
My proposal?
Germany's proposal.
Well,
Germany's and France's proposal.
Well, I wouldn't talk about if I had, right?
Why wouldn't you?
Because it would be stupid to tell it to you. I would make an own press conference if I want to publish it.
Yeah, no, I'm not asking about the agreement as I'm just saying if Kosovo and Serbia are like giving their feedback on what they think about the agreement.
Well, you know, the process is not handled by me personally. So what I hear is that it would be stupid to tell it to you.
So we're not going to talk about the elements like Kosovo getting to UN is your proposal.
I will just make some not concrete blah blah answers to all of this and trying to not answer. We can play this game also, of course, but yeah.
So nothing about 5 countries recognizing Kosovo from EU.
I would not make any sensible comment where you can read out what might be or might be not.
Is there a time frame on how long will you wait, as Germany and France and the EU itself from Kosovo and Serbia to reach an agreement? Is there a momentum going on which politicians in Kosovo talk about? The war in Ukraine and the possible elections, the elections in US also, is there a time frame in which you think as Germany that it would be a right time to reach an agreement?
Well, the time frame is that since Brussels agreement we are talking about steps forward, and it was achieved not as much as we hoped and expected, but of course we saw some progress the last months, especially due to Miroslav Lajčák's work. Just currently we see also problematic issues like number plates, for example, energy in the north. I think it's important that we have to have this project, this process also delivering, otherwise earlier or later it will be senseless itself. And this is setting time pressure without a clear time frame, I think.
Is Chancellor Scholz going to be, let's say, personally involved in trying to push forward for an agreement between Kosovo and Serbia?
I mean, he is personally involved for the region, which you recognize, of course, not only on his travel but also in his statements on different occasions. And I'm sure that tomorrow it will be also quite clear again that this is a region which is situated in his heart and in the heart of whole German government, if the government has one.
A heart.
Yes, a heart.
Okay. So we might hear something from Chancellor Scholz tomorrow about his expectation, let's say, about Kosovo, Serbia.
About the European path of the region, for sure. I mean, he was quite clear on that in the past, in the future. But you know, we also have this press codex that you should not explain what the Chancellor will say before he said it, because then the headlines will be not after he talked, but before he had the speech.
Then he wouldn't hold his press conference at all.
Exactly.
Okay, I see that you don't want to talk about the agreement. Let's talk about other things like the pressing issues. There's a new time frame for those license plates. Prime Minister Kurti ordered a phase out of the car plates in certain periods of time. So right now, Kosovo police is issuing, I don't know how to call them in English, but they're telling people that you shouldn't be having those car plates, and from 21st of November they're going to issue fines, money fines. What's your stance about that? Germany's stance?
We are quite aligned with what the European Union is saying on that, and we are in all these questions on the dialogue always standing behind Miroslav Lajčák and the European Union's position. We are a member state of the European Union, and we know really well when it's the right moment to align as one member to the guys who are dealing with that on our all behalf, and this is Miroslav Lajčák and the European level.
Are you afraid that there might be tensions? What needs to be done in order to avoid tensions that we've seen last July?
Well, I mean, first is political will to not have them. And second is being aware of that even other actors might try to make some trouble to have some, situation nobody perhaps even wants being created. And the political will to not have tensions, of course, needs preconditions on both sides. So the German position is like the European Union's position. Kosovo has the legal right to do so. And there was a long talking in the dialogue, which was not successful, and we think that Serbia didn't deliver enough on there. But the principled right should be held. Sometimes it's also clever in politics to be flexible in the right moment, so to have principled flexibility. And I think this is what we need.
So the request is for at least 10 to 12 months more time for local Serbs to convert their license plates to Arabs.
Might be that. I mean, I would say in general, this is not a topic which is a winner topic itself on license plates. Yeah. If I'm going in Germany to change my license plates, it's not like a winner topic. Yeah, I'm going to do it easy. Yeah? And I fully understand the positions, and I think that it's also important that we acknowledge that the principal position of Kosovo is right and legally right. But I think to make this a success story, it is also important to be also clever and flexible on that.
And concentrate on the bigger picture, right? On the big picture of trying to reach a final agreement, right? With Serbia, a bigger, not talk about license plates, but about a bigger agreement.
Yes, given that you are really interested in reaching that. But that is what Kosovo politicians always say, what I believe is the right position. And then, of course, it's not about license plates. I understand this question, this question of, you have to deal with this in the dialogue. The Serbian side didn't deliver. This has been acknowledged. You are right in your position. But this is sometimes the way in politics. You have to focus on your strategic aims, and our common strategic aim is to have more recognition for the Republic of Kosovo and to get a dialogue done with an agreement in the end. Yeah.
Which will lead Kosovo to UN.
And not only, right?
NATO as well.
You forgot about the most important supranational institution. Thank you.
That comes in the end. I mean, I think it's easier to get to NATO than EU. You have more criteria for EU. Right? I studied history. We can talk about this for a long time. I know. It takes time. I mean, Kosovo is...
Ukraine always wanted to become a member of EU, but not of NATO.
Yeah.
Look, this changed.
Kosovo wants both of them, but obviously it will take time. Kosovo is actually planning to apply for EU membership this year in December.
We heard about that plan.
Mm-hmm. Is it too early with all that's happening? Does it have any connection with the dialogue? Is it up to what happens in the dialogue for a final agreement?
It's up to the government of Kosovo to decide when it's clever to put such a application or not. And Chancellor already said how we would think about this probably, but
tomorrow, is there any talk about visa liberalization for Kosovo? Can we expect any mention of that? Any new promise, let's say, about Kosovo having a decision by European Council for visa liberalization?
It's not part of the agenda, and it's not decided within the Berlin process. It's decided in the responsible European bodies and committees, and I can just reassure you about the German position. We are the greatest fighter for visa liberalization within the European institutions as one important member state.
And you're also helping Kosovo for the membership in Council of Europe?
We are in favor. I mean, we recognize the independence of Kosovo. Council of Europe is an institution which is important. It's a one human right basis institution. The Council of Europe history actually also brought up a lot of fundamental freedom rights within the European treaties. This should be a part where European family is collectively assembled, except of course those who are putting themselves outside the European family, like Russia in the moment. And of course, we want them to be in.
Just the final part about aligning with the EU foreign policy, which Kosovo is fully aligned and Serbia is not, and there was some talk about EU taking some action, Germany as well, against Serbia for not sanctioning Russia. because of its aggression against Ukraine.
Yeah, you know our position. We think that Kosovo is doing a good deal, and the solidarity of Kosovo with Ukraine is clear, and they are handling it like being a NATO or EU member. And this is like not only we expect, but we are also grateful, and we recognize that. And it's, I think, one important part why a lot of member states of the European Union are also changing positively their position towards Kosovo. Not only non-recognizers, but also countries who recognize Kosovo, but perhaps were not so active yet. So I think it has also some benefits for Kosovo, but I know that you're not doing this because of that. You're doing it because of your own history and because you're really hardly feeling what's happening in Ukraine. And I can also personally tell you from my side, I feel well with that. I like that. It's bounding emotionally us together. And the Serbian side is missing this opportunity, and we want them to get more alignment, like it's said in the SAAs. They don't have to agree like on all sanctions from the one day to the next, perhaps, but we don't even see a positive development. It's a negative development, and this is not what we want. And we are clear about our expectations, and that we are not fine with that.
And so tomorrow there's going to be talk about energy, right? Because
Yes.
it's going to be energy crisis throughout Europe. The winter is predicted to be very hard, and EU has actually, Commissioner von der Leyen was in the region, and EU is helping with funds, right? All the Western Balkan countries in order to help them go through this winter.
Yes, and I think tomorrow there will be even more also said within the Berlin process format, and I think this will be an important message.
One last question actually about the agreement. The association of municipalities, of Serbian municipalities, is one of preconditions for the final agreement, right? The call remains the same for Kosovo institutions to do something and create the association, right?
Yeah, but this this nice question about association, of course, the devil lays in the detail. Yes, and it's also important to get up with that debate, to find a clear point. And I know that there's huge fear about this topic also in Kosovo, and I can just assure you it is necessary to go also steps forward on that topic. But of course, nobody wants a result which is undermining the independence or the ability of the Republic of Kosovo to act, and also not undermine the Constitutional Court ruling on this question. And we know that the Kosovo side, but also ourselves, every proposal, every possible agreement on that will be checked with these measurements. But of course, it has been agreed in 2013 that there will be a Serbian majority municipalities association founded, and we have to also get forward with that topic.
What happens, my very, very last question, what happens with Kosovo and Serbia if they refuse the French-German proposal for a final agreement?
Like, how should I watch into the future? I mean, then there's not a clear threat like that then big France and Germany would be really, really doing some bad things. I mean, this is not how international politics works.
Isolated.
We are trying to be facilitating solutions. And of course, in the end, solutions have to be agreed with those ones who are, like, it's your countries. Yeah, Germany and France found their way to have sometimes problems, but a close friendship and a common strategic outlook and a close relationship in the European Union. And so, yeah, I mean,
it's up to Kosovo and Serbia.
It's your responsibility. Yeah, and it means like we are trying to be helpful, we're trying to facilitate, we're trying to give pushes, we're trying to initiate things. But in the end, it's up to the decision of people in Serbia and Kosovo, of course.
And if they want status quo, let it be.
I mean, like, we could now have theoretical debates what this would mean for like a credible path towards the European Union or not, but
EU and Germany and France are interested to have an agreement in order for the region to move.
we want the dialogue to be
forwards.
successful, of course. And the aim of the dialogue is clear.
Which is the recognition of Kosovo by Serbia.
The aim of the dialogue is a full-fledged, legally binding agreement on normalizing the relations, But Chancellor Scholz was also really clear when he was in Belgrade in saying that, of course, before entering the European Union, both sides have to mutually recognize each other. This is quite logical. And he was quite clear on that. So I think it's quite clear what is the aim. I mean, I believe in the Republic of Kosovo. I wanted to be a EU member. By the way, I also would like it to be a NATO member. But preconditions for that also have to be solving things. Yeah.
But the recognition can come to a later stage, not necessarily now. Let's say. Right.
You have a lot of debate on this topic.
So yeah, we'll continue.
Nice try, guy.
I mean, that's my job. But I thank you very much. I see you don't want to answer directly. I thank you very much, Mr. Sarrazin, for talking to me.
Parliamentary.